Okay. Okay. Let me start again. So, what we covered in last class is runtime polymorphism. In runtime polymorphism, so if you want to call an function of an object type which should exactly map to an exact object type, like you created a basic object and you have a derived object and you want to call the implementation display which is of base class and derived class. Okay, and during runtime it should meet actually and call the corresponding functions, right? Then we just need to add the virtual keyword to it. By adding the virtual keyword, you are making this class polymorphic or a runtime polymorphic couple. So using which like this function can be called based on the actual object type. Okay, so that is what runtime polymorphism is about. Okay, now there are many things that we can extract out of this runtime polymorphism. First, I'll add. Okay, so first thing is okay. So suppose okay, and in our last class, right, we went through one more example by name plane, triangle, square. Okay, so in plane, triangle, square, what did we do? We had a class by name plane, and it had a common function by name perimeter. Okay, we had a common function by name perimeter, and we wanted our derived classes to implement this. So we wanted our derived class to implement this. And in the base class, we said, I'm not implemented, or I don't, he's not calculating anything at all here. He was just printing that I'm not implemented here. Please implemented me, please implement me here. This is what we had in our previous class. But what if we don't want to give any such messages? Or what if force, we force means we write a code in such a way that the code should not compile unless or until these functions are overridden in the derived class. Okay, so I will repeat. So see, using this code, when a customer or any developer, they can derive a class of that they want, and they can either implement it or not implement it. See, you have line as a class which does not have perimeter ka implementation. So, but line is derived from plane. So we can create a line object and we can call the perimeter function. Okay, and this code will compile and will run, but it will not give you any results. It will say, I am not implemented. Please implement me. Okay, but uh, this is not something acceptable, right? You wrote a code which got compiled and you ran it. Okay, and it gave you an error during runtime. Okay, what if you want to force this errors during compile time itself? Okay, in compile time itself, you want to put a restriction where everyone or every derived class should implement it. Okay, should implement the perimeter class or override it. Okay, how we can do that? Okay, that's a facility which C++ gives you. Okay, how C++ gives you? So C++ gives you by this facility by a feature by name pure virtual functions. So you can define the function as virtual. Okay, you can define a function as virtual and make it pure. So making it pure, what does it mean? I'll tell you. But you guys know what does virtual function mean, right? It is just a function on top of which you add a virtual keyboard. Okay. Now you just need to make it pure. Okay. So if you want, I'll just go through the same class. I'll take the same class. Okay. We'll do this. So in the previous class we covered, we had a plain class. On top of it, we derived triangle, square, and line. Okay. Now line perimeter was not overridden, and we were able to compile the code and run it. No matter what value you give, it was printing some error message. Okay. Now I would say error or some default logging message that we added. Okay. Now what if we want to force the developer to implement it? So the moment you create a plain object, I want him to implement the perimeter inside it. So we can do that by making the making making the virtual function as pure. So how do you make a virtual function pure? So you can make a virtual function pure by just giving a initial declaration. That's all. So the moment you declare this like virtual void perimeter or any function name is equal to 0, what it does is it keeps a space for it. It just keeps a space for it. Okay. And it will force all your classes, okay, derived classes to be implemented. So now you still don't see any error here. Let's compile and see what happens. Okay, this code. See, actually you are getting error here itself. See, an objects of class type line is not allowed. I repeat, an object of class type line is not allowed. Why? Why? Because pure virtual function plain is to pay perimeter has not overridden. It has no overrider, which means the classes that you derived like triangle and square has a implementation of perimeter, but line doesn't have any implementation of perimeter. That is why you are getting this error. Okay. So any questions on this? You want me to repeat this? So you are able to understand, right? What is pure virtual function?
Yes, yes.
So anyone else has any doubt on this? What is just pure virtual function?
So we need to declare that sum, right?
Yeah, in a base class, you declare
Mm.
it, not just declare, you declare and equate it to 0.
Zero. Means
So
define it with zero, right?
yeah, define and assign some 0. So
Zero.
which
Okay.
means this is a function which is equal to 0. This is not implemented. Okay, this is not.
Means why zero? Why zero? Yeah, why not one? Means you can give one also, right? No.
Let's see what happens with one.
Mm.
Why 0, why 1? I don't know.
Okay.
So it is like you are not giving any implementation. Right? It is just
Mhm.
still see, it is not given any implementation. It is just 0. So what you are doing is you are not giving an implementation. Like maybe in C you would have written a code, right? Like extern
Hmm.
to a variable
Yeah, external.
and
That
yeah,
is a global variable, external one.
correct. You say it
Yeah.
extern and in some other place you implement it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in some other place you implement it, but you say it as extern. So that code will compile, but it will not be able to link it. Okay, if the .c or .h file wherein you haven't actually declared it. Okay, so similarly, C++ provide a feature wherein you can make a function as pure virtual. Okay, so what happens when you try to create an instance of an object in which the perimeter scope implementation is not there? So that's when you will get a compile time errors. Okay, now we'll verify this as well. Are we getting this error or not during compiling? We see what it gave an error. It gave an error saying declare variable line, cannot declare variable line to be abstract type line. So because of the following virtuals are pure within the line. So what he means to say is you made this as a pure virtual function, but you haven't implemented this in line. Okay, only in line we didn't implement it. So he's saying I'm not able to link them or compile this part. Okay, that is what he's saying. Now what we can do is we can overcome this. Okay, so now we are able to identify the bug in the during compile time itself, not during linking or runtime. Okay, I will just implement it. So now we'll just what we'll do, we'll just copy a perimeter function and paste it. So for a line, what can be the perimeter? It is just the side. Okay, so whatever side you have, that is the perimeter. I mean, as much border it has. That's all. Okay. Now if we run, see, we are able to run it and able to see the results as well. 9, 20, and 100. Okay. So what was 9? 9 is the perimeter of triangle, and 100 is the perimeter of square, and for a line the length is 100, so it is showing us this. Okay, abstract class for line is not allowed. What is it happening here? Maybe a wrong
That
file.
is not saved, I think so.
It's saved. Maybe I opened. Okay, it was a temporary file which got opened. I renamed the file, right? Okay. So now you see this, everything got compiled. Now we can just uh, test it by commenting any others. So for square, I commented this perimeter. We'll get this error. Let's see, are getting this error or not. We'll compile and see our best. See, for square, we got this error. Cannot derived object to be abstract. Okay, so it is like why this feature is there. Okay, why this feature is given. Okay, so it can be like so. Okay, I think Subbu was talking about earlier I2C, UART, or CAN and all. Okay, so whether it's I2C, UART, or CAN, what we will do? Okay, they all are devices. Okay, so what a computer will do? It will just open the port. Okay, so when typically someone writes a code, what he will do? He will just write a open function for it, and uh, then setup or set characteristics like set baud rate, set stop bits, or for I2Cs maybe the master and slave numbers, all that you will set. Then followed by reading, writing, okay, and waiting or select, wait for data, and then close. These are the six implementations that you would typically write. Okay, so I'll just, okay, I'll say serial device. So now you can have a serial device open function. Like assume I'm a lead. I'm trying to give a job for you guys. Okay, one of you will implement, okay, reading and writing from UART. Other guy will implement reading and writing from I2C. Other guy will implement reading and writing from CAN. Okay, so but all of them should have same functions. Like, okay, so I'm a lead who will give you a requirement. Okay, something like this. So I'm gonna create a base class, simple class, and give it to you. Okay, now you guys should implement this, implement the reading, rest of it. Now what you guys will do, you guys will write, one guy will write I2C. Okay, you create a class by name I2C, and you will inherit whatever settings that I have given, like serial device. And inside this, you will implement this open function. You will write some code for it. Okay. So in order to make this generalized, right? So if you see, right, the function names or number of arguments that it has, right, everything remains same. Whether you are doing I2C or you are doing UART or you are doing CAN, okay, or RS485, the function signatures are same. Means number of arguments that it takes, and everything is remaining same. Okay, so you forget the master slaves. Those things are not there, but this is how it is. So what one person will do is he will just implement them in there. For I to see how to open, he will write a function for it. Okay, he will write some code. Okay, and rest of the functions he will write the same, so that everyone will write it in a same way. Okay, so that when you connect, okay, when you connect any device, like you have a printer, right? Printer can be connected over USB or over a LAN or over a Bluetooth or over a Wi-Fi. Okay, we can have printers connected in any format. Okay, but what will a PC do? No matter how you connect, you will do a open and connect and just read and write. So these functions, what it will do, it will send some series of bytes to the printer and it will just print it. Okay, so these are the things which would remain common, but these are the things which will change, like setting up. How do you set up? Okay, if it's a Bluetooth printer, you will do all the pairing stuff. Okay, and then pass key exceptions and all. So whereas if it's a serial UART printer, you will do baud rate settings. If it's a Wi-Fi printer, you would going to ask for Wi-Fi password and key or security type. Okay, all this will cover up in setup characteristics, and setup characteristics will vary for the interface. What is the actual interface type, whether it's I2C, UART, or CAN. Okay, but rest will remain the same. So in order to implement such things, right? Okay, what C++ gives you is the concepts of virtual functions, and the other keyword that I wanted to bring in here is abstract. Abstract class. So abstract class matlab it is a class which has at least one function as pure. So matlab what it says is abstract means it is like this should look something like this. Okay, it's like it is someone has given you a requirement. That's all. So abstract classes are like just requirements. So I am giving a class which is going to have so many variables. Okay,
This
very
class is a hiding part for us, right? Internal part. We're not showing to means outside the world like clients and all. So
see whether it can be client or anything. Okay, so if you are delivering some libraries, it goes as clients. Okay, but generally what
hmm,
happens in a team, someone will write, other guy will use. Okay, that's
yes.
all. So what you will do is no matter what variables you write, that is going to be up to you, but you're going to expose only few functions. Like if you are writing a C code, right, you would have some external keyword. You would not put external keywords to all the functions that you implement. You would only put those external keywords, or those functions will be written in .h file. Only for few functions will be written in .h files, because only those functions you want customers to use. Okay, or your developers, co-developers to use. Okay, those what we call it as uh, like interfaces or implementation that you want to give to other world. Okay, so the abstract class is something which is going to have at least one pure virtual functions. So when you say this, right, what happens is this class is incomplete. This guy is incomplete. This guy is incomplete because one of it function is not defined. So you just need to let me comment this part. So whenever you are deriving an instance out of it, you need to define them. Define the actual implementation. Like the perimeter for this is this. For a triangle is implemented in this way. For a square, it is implemented in this way. For a line, it is implemented in this way. So you would let your co-developers to write, or your clients to write, or whatever. Okay. So that's the meaning of an abstract class, and how you can make an abstract class by using a virtual function. Okay. Any doubt on this so far? Okay. So you are able to understand what is a pure virtual function and what is a abstract class, right? So when you make a function, virtual function as equate to zero, it becomes a pure virtual function. So you are going to force your developers who are going to derive classes out of it to actually implement it. Okay, you can only then they can able to compile this code. Okay, now when if a class has one pure virtual function, then that class you can say it as abstract class. Okay, I'll repeat, if your class has at least one, not all, at least one pure virtual function, you're going to call it as a abstract class. Okay, am I clear, right? No doubts on this so far, right?
Yes, yes. Clear.
Okay, good. So next next becomes, so next question customers can, I mean, or interviews gonna ask you is, what is interface? Interface क्या है? What does it mean? Okay. So whatever we did here, right? Let us- Okay. So what did I copy? So I copied the whatever I have written earlier. Okay. So what is an interface? Okay. In C++, what is an interface in a C++? Interface in C++ is nothing but a class in which all the functions you define are pure. Like definition, I'll repeat. If all functions are pure, pure in a class, we call it a interface. Okay. So this is a common question whether you are a C++ developer or a Java developer or any object-oriented programming developer, right? They'll ask, what is an interface? Or what kind of interface are you going to give to me? Okay, so what what you would say is, it's just a class in which every function is pure. All the functions are pure. So when I say pure, what does it mean? Every function is a polymorphic function, like you just add virtual to it and you say the definition is equal to zero, which means I have a function something like this virtual function, but my implementation is undefined or not defined. Okay, then this becomes an interface. Okay, why would we want something like this, an interface? This becomes a important questions. Okay, so many people has many answers to it. Like you can say, I have a customer or a requirement wherein I am going to give some code to someone else, and he said I want to write a code only in this way, and he will use it in this way. So, or he can write a pseudo code like this. So he's going to create a connection object and say he's going to open it. So it's a pseudo code what we are writing, and set characteristics. Now typically this should be while no error. I'm just writing for a different. Okay. So what would I wanted to say here is, so uh, you can have a team lead in your team who say, I'm this is my main function. Okay, I'm going to write a code, or I want to write functions, something like this. So I'll just create an. Okay, so you can have a team lead, okay, who say, this is my pseudocode. So my main.cpp is going to be something like this. Okay, now you need to implement classes for can or uart or I2C and give it to me. Okay, and he will assign this task to developer 1, this to developer 2, and this to developer 3. Okay, now what everyone will do, they will go and they'll just copy the main. They'll take the main from the lead and rest, and go back, and they'll create their own can.cpp file, ur.cpp file, or I2C.cpp file, and implement, okay, the actual implementations of it, and they will test it, and they will submit their code. Okay, now what is the benefit is, see, developer 1 can finish I2C implementation earlier, and he can test his application, and he say, my job is done. Okay, now developer 2 is not dependent on developer 1's job and developer 3's job, because he got the clear requirement saying that he just need to write one, two, three, four, five. Five functions he need to write. And what each function should do, he will explain. It should open the device. It should set up any characteristics that it wants. And he wants to just read and write and close. This is the requirements a team lead would give, and the developers would just implement it. Okay, this is what happens in a actual scenario. Okay, so now this class wherein everything is defined as pure is what we call it as an interface. Okay, you got it right. Any
Yes.
any doubts on this? Sakalya or Subbu, you guys have any doubts on this? Sakalya or Lipsa?
So,
Hmm.
this CAN connection you told, this connection dot open, these are the um of sorry,
Okay, so
interface one. These are the interface, right? Open and setup can.
open,
These are the
setup,
interface.
read and write. Okay, close are the implementation. These
Hmm.
are functions. इसको क्या बोलते हैं? These are the
Hmm.
implementations or functions. So what does interface?
Yes.
Interface is nothing but a class. Typically, interface is a class in which
Hmm.
all functions are pure.
Okay.
So all functions are pure. Okay, so that becomes an interface. Okay, okay. Here, okay, what in main may you can create a can object or UART object. Or a I2C object. Okay, and you can just do the same: open, setup, read, write, and close. So basically, right, it is just like in your mobile, right? You want to send forward something to someone. Okay, how would you forward via WhatsApp or Truecaller or something else. So that becomes your customer's choice. Okay, the
mm,
moment you select the protocol, right, or the app in your mobile app, rest is
mm,
same. Open the app, okay, send it, okay, or attach if there is a Gmail, you attach it and send it. Okay, the flow, rest of the flow will remain same, but initial selection, okay, will be different. That's all. The initial which.
So
Mhm.
we can say also this CAN UART and I2C is the interface of this what
These are the
this
physical, these are the physical interfaces. Okay,
yes, yes, yes.
so this is a base class where which we say it as, I have just given a name as interface.
Mhm.
Okay,
Okay.
technically this would be, okay, serial
Serial
device.
device.
Okay,
Yes.
this is a serial device. This is the actual name, but I have just given a name for it as interface. Okay, so this is an interface. So serial device class is an interface. Why? Because all the functions are virtual in it. Okay,
Mhm.
so a team lead will just write a interface something like this and give you, and developer one, two, three, they will implement it. Okay, and they will have the lead will have a main and serial device. That's all he will give. Okay, now he would just write a switch loop statement here, one, two, three. If someone pressed one, it can open a CAN protocol and send and write. Someone press 2, you can make it UART. Someone press 3, it will do something on I2C. So that kind of code he will generally write and leave it. Okay. So it's a same thing that you can apply for many different things.
Yes,
So I'm clear, right, on this.
yes, yes.
Okay. Let's see some of the questions what you might get. Okay. So what is a pure virtual function? Is a function in is a virtual function which is defined, which is declared to 0, to a value 0. Okay, you just assign some value 0 to it in a base class, then you call this as a pure virtual function. Okay, now what is a abstract class? It is a class which has at least one pure virtual function. So you can, if you have a class which has at least one pure virtual function, then you call it as an abstract class. You can implement rest of the classes. Okay, that's fine. But one of it should be pure. Then you can call it as an abstract class. Okay. The final question is, what is an interface? It is a class on which all the all the functions are pure virtual. Okay. These are the four questions that you will get. Okay. Now fifth question is, let me ask you this question. Can you create a instance of a abstract class? This is a question that you will ask, that people will ask you. Can you tell me, can you answer me this one? Can you create an instance of a abstract class? Instance matlab, can you create an object of a abstract class? Anyone? Can we create or not? Sakal, yeah. Matlab, can we create? So we have a plane, right? Can I create an object of plane?
Mm, yes, plain. Yeah.
Can we actually create?
Yeah, we can keep.
Let's see. Let's compile this and see.
Okay.
See, cannot declare a variable obj of abstract type plane because the following virtual functions are pure within the plane. Perimeter is pure within the plane. So this function is not
Okay.
implemented.
Means we can create that base class object. It is saying.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
cannot create a instance of a base class at all.
Yes.
So what is the base class? Base class is plane, which is an abstract class. Okay. So what will be the answer? Can you create a instance of a abstract class? Now what is abstract
Mm,
class? Abstract is nothing but a pure virtual function. I mean,
mm,
it's a class which has pure virtual function. So pure virtual function means one of the function is undefined. So the answer is no,
no.
since at least one function is undefined. You can say it as function or member functions or anything, and you say it's not completely implemented. It would have been equated to zero. So abstract class means it has one pure virtual function which is equated to zero. Okay, so you cannot have an instance of it. Now, how to create an instance of it? You say you cannot create an instance, but you can derive an class out of it and implement the all pure virtual functions, and then you can create instance of it. Okay, that's one. That's other question. Now the same question you will get. Can you create an instance of a face? Uh, can you create a instance of an interface? Mhm. Yes. Can you create an instance or object of an interface?
No, I think so. Means
Yeah, no, because all the functions are
yes, all the functions
at
that
least no, since all
hmm.
all the functions are undefined. Are undefined.
Because all, all the interfaces are pure, right? So that's why.
Correct.
Yes.
Now seventh question. Okay. Can you create a pointer of an abstract class? The question. Read the question carefully. Can you create a pointer of an abstract class?
No, if object is not created, then how to create the pointer? Without object, we can't create the pointer, right?
So what is the syntax of a pointer? How to create a pointer? Hmm?
First create an object, then only we can
No.
uh,
No, right?
No, yeah.
So why does this need be the
So
object of
the
plane
class
is,
plane is not allowed.
wait, I'll
Yeah.
rename it correctly. Object of abstract class type plane is not allowed. I agree. I'm saving it. Okay. Okay. I just had to save it. See, it is creatable. I'll just compile this and show. See, it is creatable. The question you need to understand is you are just trying to create a pointer. Okay. The question you need to understand, you are just trying to create a pointer. You can have a pointer, whether it's pointing to something or not, it doesn't matter. So the answer is yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now the important part is what is the purpose of this pointers? What is the purpose of having a pointer to an abstract class or interface? So let's have the same question for interface. Can you create a pointer to an interface class? Can you create a pointer of an interface class of an or of
Yes.
type?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we can. But why is the question? Why you need a pointer of type abstract or interface? Why would you need them? You are creating pointers, but why? Hmm? Why you
We
need to?
can,
Hmm.
mm,
Yeah, go ahead, please.
yeah. Means, if you create that pointer, you can, um, means in any function you can point, you can use the pointer. I think so. I think
Any
so.
function of what?
Means any function means uh, that whatever the interfaces we have created, right? We can point out
Yeah, but the functions are
the
still
object.
zero, right? Now,
Mhm.
which object? What object? Of which object? Of abstract instance? Abstract object या फिर कौन सा object?
Yeah, abstract object only.
No, abstract objects itself you cannot create, right?
That is null. Okay. No, inside this perimeter means I can.
This one, right? Yeah, perimeter is
Yes.
undefined in plane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you cannot call obj dot perimeter or or plane perimeter you cannot call because that itself is undefined.
Okay, then it is not possible. The pointer you can only you have defined as a null, right?
Uh,
Without null
see,
also you can do.
forget. See, forget this. I have
Yes.
designed this as null. Forget it. But there are many
Mhm.
uses of this pointer in our application itself. We have used, right? See,
Mhm.
I've used a plain pointer here.
Yes.
Why? See, what did we do here?
Yeah,
Runtime
runtime type interface.
identification.
Identity,
Okay,
sorry, identity.
yeah. So why we need all this is okay. We can give the feature of runtime type or identification or polymorphic capabilities. and all. So whatever C++ gives, right? All those features we can give. So what are that is, see, you can just write one function implementation, okay, of which takes base pointer, okay, and this base pointer has capability to point to derived objects and functions of derived object also. Any these functions, any functions we can call using this. So to achieve that is what we create this base pointer. Okay, so why would you need this is identify the actual derived object and call the corresponding functions or implementations in it. Okay, to just call the corresponding functions or implementation in it, right? We use a pointers, or we write, or in short term, generic code. Okay, you can write a generic code, okay, which will take base pointer, okay, which will just take a base pointer and do the same calls on all the derived objects. Okay, so whether it can be abstract class or derived class, you can just create a pointer of that type. Okay, so and you can write a code which you want to do. Okay, so in similarly in interface, right, you can just create a serial device pointer. Okay, you can just make it something like this. Now based on a switch, if selection is equal to 1, okay, we can say connection is equal to new can, new UART. Okay,
So you will use the switch function or
see, either it can be switch or an else if,
other?
okay, anything. So the code will
Yeah.
remain same here. It is just a connection.
Mhm.
Now it is just a pointer, right? You'll just write
Mhm.
some code, something like this, or your lead will write a code and give you something like this. Okay, in test cases, I think in your G test cases, you might use it. Okay,
Yeah. In unit test cases, we're doing that.
yeah, the code will almost remain the same. Okay,
Mm.
so identifier connection is undefined. Connection is this. Maybe I need to save the file. Okay, okay. So you can write some general code like this. This will remain same. Inside that, you do whatever changes, but my test case or my execution will never change. This is how I'm going to test it. Okay, that's how we can implement it and give. Okay, you got it right. Any questions on this? Any more questions?
If you do so,
Hmm? Sorry.
if you do something in code, then only you can get to know.
See, this is something which you need to implement. Maybe we'll do this in a Linux class, wherein once we learn the socket programming or serial port
Mhm.
programming, right? We will understand.
Okay.
Like we will
Okay.
do open, read, and write. Okay, message queues.
Yeah.
How do you open it? How do you set it up? How do you read it? How do you write it? Okay, that implementation we can
Mhm.
do. But
So through this also you can do, right? Means for this any other tool is not required.
through Visual
Means
Studio we can do it.
yeah, yeah. No, in Arduino we had used like a void loop, void type like that. From there,
Void loop inside a PC,
that
right?
read and write. Yeah, yeah. Read and write
See,
means
so we have SOCAT, okay, which
okay.
can simulate all the all the serial port devices, okay, in your
Mhm,
PC. Whether you just need to have a Linux box. It
mhm,
will create as many serial ports as you want, virtual serial ports on your PC. You can write a
mhm.
code to read and write between two serial ports in your boxes. You don't need to actually have a serial port physically. You don't need to buy a Arduino at all. You can write a code which will work on
Mhm.
your with which you can test on your Linux box. That's enough.
Okay, okay.
Okay, guys. I think any more questions? Any more questions you wanted me to answer on this keyword, pure virtual function abstract? See, understand this one. These are main. Okay, I'll push this part so that you guys can go through these questions. Okay, implement more problems only, then you will understand. Okay, so when people say oops, it's just can be oops, like basic. And if someone would say design patterns, then this virtual functions, everything, they all comes as part of design patterns and all. Okay, so it grows like it's a never ending story. See, if you are able to answer double pointers, then people will say done a linked list. Okay, good. Not more than beyond that, they will not ask you any questions. Maximum they'll ask you OS related questions. Okay, C++ is just like Ocean. You can you can keep on asking you for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. It can keep on going on. Okay, okay, guys. I think that's all I had for today. We rest. Anything else we'll cover tomorrow
Okay.
or Monday,
Tomorrow there's a
Monday,
class.
Monday,
Right.
Monday, Monday,
Ah,
Monday.
okay.
Okay, that's all, guys. Thank you.
Okay.
If you have any questions, let me ping me. I'll go through.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.